Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Welcome to my review of Stargirl Season 3, Episode 3. Now, it seems I was correct about Cindy. She wasn't the killer, guys. She was only sending Beth evidence of the gambler blackmailing the Crocs. And while the JSA doesn't do anything about it, Cindy decides to go behind their back and inform Sylvester Pemberton, hoping to gain his approval. Well, it doesn't really work. But this is where the wheels really fall off. Sylvester turns his back on Cindy. With that info, he goes to fight the Crocs alone at a supermarket. Now, let's ask ourselves, guys, what does a hero mean? My definition is a person who is admired for their courage, outstanding achievements, and noble qualities. Now, Starman, yeah, he has the first two. He has it in abundance. But with the latter, he is far from being noble. As I said in my last reviews, he's kind of a jerk. But heroes come in many forms in life, ranging from family members who you look up to, friends, close friends, athletes, to movie stars. All of them showing qualities of honor and respect. The Starman doesn't have any of these. He's so out of touch with being on the level of Superman or Batman. Even in his own timeline, Green Lantern Alan Scott, Jay Garrick the Flash, how was Starman actually the leader of the JSA when he was so brash and rash? It's hard to say that maybe he wasn't like this before, but he was. So has his death really changed him? I'm not sure whether his death has changed him at all. Maybe a little few lessons that he's had with Pat. But now it's to the point where Pat is the hero and Starman is the sidekick. Learning all those life lessons from Pat and Courtney is something that's going to take him forward. Now, as for the fight scene in the supermarket, guys, well, it's up there with the highest quality we've seen in the Arrowverse. In fact, Stargirl's probably officially, along with Titans, my favourite action series from DC. The fight scene was fantastic. The way the Crocs act side by side together is outstanding. Sportsmaster, as you know, has no powers, but he's in superb physical athletic condition. And then there's the Victor Grover version, who had photographic reflexes. So, you know, different versions of Sportsmasters were kind of metahumans. And it's the same with Paula Brooks, Tigress. She has no known superpowers or usual uses of technology in the comics. But remember, her nails were once sharpened like talons. But she doesn't have those on this series either. So we move on to Cameron, who ignores Courtney making a pass at him. The whole touching my hands walking together was a real turn-off for him. And after arguing with Rick, using his powers to give Rick a flat tire. So at least we know his powers are working. But somewhere along the past year, Cameron has learned to hone his skills. Now, last season, we talked about the kids joining the JSA. Now, with Cameron, I think we could see the ISA come back into play. I think I got that wrong on that one. He isn't going to join the JSA. He's definitely going in a different direction. Every time he tries to paint now, it hurts. It's something he loves and he cannot do anymore. His powers are also causing him to suffer mood swings where he lashes out. And Cameron was raised primarily by his grandparents. Despite the presence of his father, their influence over him will now take him to a different level, and that won't be for the greater good. Now, Cameron is the only living ISA legacy member that didn't join the Injustice Unlimited. We remember when Cindy plans to join up with him and then she later fails to recruit him. He's now out on his own. As for Mike in this episode, guys, Mike played detective. Hiding behind walls, watching from afar, gathering information and seeing what was going on with Starman and his actions. But I'd still like him to play a bigger part with Jakeem. It seems we're only getting 2 or 3 minutes of them every week. It's clearly not enough. Maybe that's a reason for budgets, I don't know. Because every time you see Thunderbolt, obviously that's a lot of special effects. But I'd like to see a montage of training with Mike, telling Jakeem the rules, how they work, and how to formulate the wishes. And then working on ways to improve Jakeem not messing up. But, you know, we're going to have to wait to see if they're more involved throughout the rest of the series, because I hope that they are. Now, Paula confronts Tim in his office. Tim is Barbara's boss. As you know, he's been bullying her. And she confronts Tim over his treatment of Barbara. I think, guys, we all saw this coming. And Paula is becoming a bright spot on the show. A little bit more than Sportsmaster. And I have to admit, I'm a fan of Paula now. I like her. Yeah, earlier she killed the gym teacher for not letting Artemis on the football team. But it goes without saying how much more of a softer touch she has now, and how much softer the Crocs have become as a whole. Staying out of trouble means they get to spend more time in their daughter's life, and that means more to them than anything else. But we end this episode with someone continuing to surveillance Blue Valley, as Sylvester Pemberton returns to the crime scene of the gambler and is knocked out by a roaring perpetrator. I'm still kind of thinking that, I mean, it sounds like Grundy. It probably, the way the dark shadow overcrowds the attacker, it looks like Grundy. But Grundy apparently is supposed to be dug under the dirt. Apparently. We don't know if he's still underneath there or he's under anyone else's influence. And we do know Grundy is quite heavily an influenced person. But we're going to have to wait to see how this all plays out. Right now, I'm enjoying the mystery. It's stringing over the whole season, so I'm in no rush to see this thing brought to a conclusion. But some notes from this episode that I liked was, Sylvester tells Maria in the cafe that Richie's has the best tea, while the food, as he tells Yolanda, is terrible. And it's funny because that's exactly what the Shade said about Richie's cafe. Also, Rick tells Beth that his Uncle Matt had left Blue Valley. But we know why, because of the confrontation he had with Pat. I also found it kind of crazy that Sylvester Pemberton calls Cindy a demon spawn. Having to kind of like Cindy lately, I thought that that was a touch harsh on someone who's trying to turn a page in their life. Another part I liked was Pat telling Sylvester about Courtney's father, Sam Curtis, and how Courtney had thought that Sylvester was her biological father, given that Sam had disappeared on the same night that Starman allegedly died. This should have been the most important thing to Starman, and he should be acting like her mentor in every single way. But it doesn't even cross his mind, the fact that this young girl has taken up the mantle of the staff and he has to set an example of how that works. It just goes to show you how on earth was this guy the leader of the JSA? It is also an Easter egg, guys, where the woman that Sylvester orders coffee from at the beginning of the episode was named Sonia Sato. In DC Comics, Sonia goes by the alias of Judo Master and is a member of the Justice Society of America. She's a metahuman, and her talent allows her to project an adverse field which prevents her from being hit by attacks specifically aimed at her. Now, they have to be really careful when they work around sort of the budget of the series. I know, I get that. I do understand it's on the CW, a place that have made huge amount of cutbacks. But they only have the budget to do these big action pieces every sort of few episodes or so. And it's really working well within the context of the series, and they're picking and choosing when those action pieces are. And so far, guys, I really do like the way it's going. Now, if there's one thing I would like them to do more of, it's flashbacks. How Starman came back to life. And also, I'd like them to go more into Cosmo as well. More on the wealth of Ted Knight, and who became the first Starman and created the cosmic rod of his own invention. I would like to see a little bit more of that. Now, a lot of fans believe Cosmo is a little bit more intelligent in the TV series, and that's true to a point. But in the comics, he was capable of receiving mental commands from a distance from his user. And that became possible when the rod attuned itself to the user more over a time. And this is kind of why the writers are working on it in the TV show. Remember, guys, in season 2 when I mentioned Mjolnir, Thor's hammer, and it was only recently in the comics that we found out that the hammer is sentient. It's actually alive. So this could be the same for Cosmo. Overall, guys, I give this episode another stunning 8 out of 10. It's really turning out to be a wonderful start for season 3. There is still no word, guys, on Amazon Prime in the UK, facilitating season 3. But what I do feel like, because they're going really hard with Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, which sort of ends around the beginning and middle of November. So it's possible that they just wanted to get everybody focused on this big, massive, epic series of Lord of the Rings, and then they'll look at maybe putting Stargirl on in November when kind of all the 10 episodes are over. So we're going to have to wait until we see more on that one. You will get those updates here on this YouTube channel. But I want to thank you guys for following the channel, and I hope you're enjoying Stargirl. Let me know what you think of it in the comment section below. Peace, guys, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Nice one.